Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, it's great to see you, particularly in this position as a former law enforcement officer myself. It's great to have somebody in there that understands law and order. We wouldn't need the wall, like he said, if every administration would enforce the current law as it is, but they won't. And so we need this wall. It is, the first one is an impediment. The second one gives you time to get there, and great plan. I want to speak a little bit about organized retail crime and cargo theft, because they are no longer isolated property crimes. They are sophisticated, they are interstate, and they are often transnational criminal enterprises that threaten the integrity of the U.S. supply chain. They impose higher costs on consumers and generate illicit proceeds that support these cartels who are running these things and other criminal enterprises. I would also mention that these are the non-domiciled CDL drivers that are killing our American public out on our roadways because they don't know how to drive. Last month, the House overwhelmingly passed the Combating Organized Retail Crime Act, CORCA. This committee also passed the FY27 Homeland Security Appropriations Bill, which we included language in that bill for the $4 million to establish the Organized Retail and Supply Chain Crime Center that would be created through CORCA. So we're funding it in advance, hoping that the Senate will do the right thing. We have to start fighting these cartels who are absolutely taking over our trucking industry. First, I'd like to know, would you agree that combating cargo theft and this organized crime is imperative to our national security? And from a Homeland Security perspective, how important is it that Congress provides DHS with the tools and statutory direction that CORCA gives to treat organized retail crime and supply chain crime truly as a national security threat?
Thank you, Sheriff, or Congressman, for the, I've called you Sheriff for so long.
Please.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Sheriff, thank you for that question. It is something that we're seeing organized crime expanding into. Unfortunately, underneath the Biden administration, they had 4 years to build a network because there was just no enforcement on this. Mm-hmm. The Trump administration has had a zero policy, and we're kicking all the networks. We're going from the cities on down to the borders. That's part of the president's enforcement and going by city because they do have networks there. And what we're seeing is cartels and other organizations that are, because of the drugs that we are having a strong effect on, because of the human trafficking that we have taken away from the borders, from them able to traffic humans and across, they're moving more towards the retail theft. There's been a kind of hands-off policy. We're seeing this really bad in sanctuary cities. We're seeing as CDLs drivers that they're not required to have the same amount of training or hours in a truck or months or years of service. They can just simply switch their DOT number out and move right on. And we're seeing that they're directly tied to it. And we're seeing CDLs come out where it just simply says no name. Oklahoma, I would say we're one of the strongest to enforce this, but the more cooperation we have with the 287G program, we can combat this. Because ICE, even though people consider them just rounding up illegals, ICE is Immigration Custom Enforcement. HSI, who falls underneath ICE, is also part of that. They combat human trafficking, retail theft all the time. For Congress to convey their interest in this, we have the authorities already to do it, but to convey it helps us get more cooperation from sanctuary states and sanctuary cities saying that this is different. Because when you have these sanctuary governors and sanctuary mayors that go out and say you cannot cooperate at all with ICE, right. What they're doing is at the same time saying you can't cooperate not just with immigration, but with other investigations that ICE does, which is much more than that. And so it really handcuffs us from being able to do it. So what we're doing is we're hitting all the red states, we're hitting the blue states that will cooperate with us, but we're just pushing them then into these high sanctuary cities, which is why you're seeing retail leave on a constant basis, which is not good for the economy. It's not good for anybody to do that. So the more you guys can help us and convey your interest, especially this should be a bipartisan issue. This be something that
absolutely.
no one is looking at this as a blue or red issue. This is across the state, because when we lose a pharmacy, or you lose a grocery store, or you lose a mom and pop shop, or you lose a jewelry store because they're getting robbed to death, literally, and no one's enforcing it, that's not good for anybody. That affects all your all's constituents. Almost said all of ours, but I guess they're all your guys' constituents now. And we just simply want to enforce laws. What we don't do at DHS is pick and choose which law to enforce. We enforce the laws that Congress passed.
Right, and I think it's important that DHS and DOT, that we come together on this, because part of the enforcement, I can tell you, if you want to end this, let's start seizing some of those trucks instead of giving passing the cargo on. And when we stop these
we have the
drivers
authority.
who are violating cabotage, let's start some seizures and forfeitures on these vehicles, and that'll stop.
We actually have that authority through the 287G program. And when I go back to Oklahoma, even though we have 4.3 million people in the state, we have more arrests under the 287G program, and we've revoked and confiscated more illegal CDL drivers than any other state. The only one that has more arrests is Florida. Their population is quite different.
Right.
Oklahoma has stopped, revoked license, and arrested and confiscated vehicles more than any other state, because we have complete cooperation with the 287G program.
I'm glad you brought up 287G, because that leads right into my next issue. Because when I was sheriff, I started a 287G program within my jail.
I didn't know it was that old.
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding, sir.
Thank you. But here's the thing. We've made significant investments in the program, and I want to say thank you. You all have done so much in expanding the 287G program across the country. I think there's now over 2,000 state and local agencies involved in the program. That's phenomenal. So can you talk a little bit about that and how important that is? I can tell you the former ICE chief who retired told me in the hearing, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And we can't get these darn sanctuary cities and states to participate in this program. And I like your idea, Mr. Secretary. We need to find a way to hold them accountable.
Yeah, so the 287G has been super successful for us. One of the things that I want to kind of tie back to, because again, that's allowing us to have the partnerships with all the sheriff organizations. The Secretary has been very focused on recovering UACs. Children that made it across the border, 450,000. Through the Secretary's leadership and working with the White House, we've been able to use the 287G program. We've been using Big Beautiful Bill money to actually work and fund that, basically helping the Sheriff's Department and going out and working with us to help us locate these kids. We've located over about, 140? Yeah.
147,000.
147,000. And again, it really thanks to you guys funding the Big Beautiful Bill, being able to give us the money. And really with the partnerships with the sheriffs, this also helps build your local communities. This money goes directly to them. That helps them build up their facilities, their capital, their cars, all of that stuff. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, I see my time is up, and I yield back.